Alexander Kwasniewski, former president of the Polish Republic and now chairman of the European Council on Tolerance and Reconciliation. Thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon. Looking ahead now to this 22nd EU-Russia summit that's due to take place on the 13th of November, how does Poland feel about that oncoming summit, and what do you hope will be on the agenda?
Well, I think that is important summit, that is after Georgian crisis, that is after some real tensions between Russia and European Union, and it's necessary openly to discuss this issue. And for example, I would like to hear, to listen the real opinion of Russia, why they decided to react so tough in Georgia, why they didn't use some more political, diplomatic methods. What is idea of Russia about Russia-EU relationships in the future. So I think this meeting, this summit can be really important, very substantial, and I hope will be some kind of breakthrough. But if you ask me what is my vision of future, I'm sure that Europe and Russia should be as close as possible, should work on same basis of same values of democracy, human rights, rights of minorities and understanding. And I'm sure that one day, not yet, not next 10 years, maybe 20 years, Russia will be very close to Europe and to European Union, because Russia, in fact, is very European in sense of culture, in sense of people, characters, and business country. If you see so many Russian entrepreneurs living in Europe, making business in Europe, how you want to cut this positive, these good ties? You need the best links, you need the best ties with European Union and Europe, and that is my expectations, and even I'm sure that I'm right. Next 20 years you will see Russia, and in Russia, inside Russia, very strong discussions to be a member of European Union or not. That is a little bit provocative what I said now, but that is my prophecy for next 20 years.
So do you share Silvio Berlusconi's prediction that he made back in October that Russia will one day become a part of the European Union?
Well, because if you see this historical process, if you see what is Europe, what is Russia, and even if you see this kind of strategic vacuum in Russia today, because Russia still is, after collapse of Soviet Union, in some shape of a vacuum, to be separated superpower, or to go closer to Europe, or to go closer to China. Finally, I'm sure that Russia will understand fully that the place of Russia, because of everything, heritage, culture, tradition, business, politics, is to be very, very close. I don't know how close, maybe full membership, that is something that is still very unrealistic, but I'm sure that the place of Russia next 20 years is with Europe and in Euro-Atlantic zone, in this triangle what Moshe Kantor mentioned today, Europe, United States and Russia. The problem is Russia itself, what Russians wants to do next 10, 20, 30 years, but I'm sure that finally we'll be in the same club.
We had a new president-elect voted in the United States, Barack Obama, and we've already heard from the Obama camp that plans to deploy elements of America's anti-missile defense shield within Poland are still under discussion. So what is current feeling in Poland? Will elements of that shield be built within its borders, and does Poland still want it?
I tell you, nobody knows today what will be the final decision of President Obama and his administration. I think that is not the main problem, and even I feel that it's not on the list of Obama's priorities, because he has a financial crisis, he has Iraq, he has Iran, he has the Middle East, he has many problems which is necessary to decide, and he has a lot of domestic problems, healthcare system, education, etc. So I'm not nervous. I think we have to wait. I think our strong arguments in favor of this system, this is first our efficiency to fight against terrorism, and are some question marks. The first is cost, because this system is very costly, and during crisis in finances maybe that is not possible to spend so much money for this system. And point number 3 is more international. We know the reaction of Russia, and Obama knows this reaction as well, and I think on the list and the agenda of talks with Russia, this question will be discussed. So my advice to my friends in Poland and my advice to everybody in the world is to be not nervous. Of course, it's time for new administration, it's time to discuss this issue, and we'll see what will happen. We have to be efficient in our fight against terrorism. And if the system is useful, helpful in this fight, we should support this decision. But what will happen, I don't know. I know as well that American administration works according to the rule of continuation. This document was signed by today's current administration. I think in America is such very deep feeling of democracy, and that is good Latin sentence, pacta sunt servanda. It means that the agreements which we signed we fulfill. We'll see. We shall see, and I think that's a serious decision, but absolutely not number 1 decision of new administration.
Also, during his first State of the Nation address, President Medvedev said that Russia is ready to place short-range Iskander missiles in Kaliningrad in response to America's plans to place parts of its missile defense shield within Eastern Europe. How does Warsaw feel about that announcement? And would you say that Polish-Russian relations have entered a new low ebb?
In my opinion, it was not the best to use such language, especially during the first days of after American election. I think the word expect, and Poland expects as well, very good, very close, very friendly relationships between Russia and the United States. This system is a part of agenda of talks, and I'm sure that Obama and Medvedev will discuss this issue during their meetings. But of course, to use such arguments that if you will deploy this system in Poland, we will deploy our missiles in Kaliningrad, that is, please understand me, but that is a language of the past. That is the language which I cannot accept. I'm very much against such language, such decision, because they are, in the sense of military sense, absolutely wrong. This system cannot attack Russia. Politically, they are very aggressive. They create some tensions between Russia and neighbors. If we want, and especially I speak to you as a chairman of Council of Tolerance and Reconciliation, if you want to have reconciliation, if you want to promote tolerance, it's necessary to change our language. This language from communist time, this language from imperialistic time, the language of such tough words should be the part of past. That cannot be the language of contemporary time and future. That's it.
Aleksander Kwaśniewski, former President of the Polish Republic and now Chairman of the European Council on Tolerance and Reconciliation, thank you so much for talking to us.